5, 4.
Was that
Hello,
Papley?
everybody. That was
that
Papley. That's when Papley fell over.
That's good. That's really good.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trade TV here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It is day 4 of the 2025 AFL Trade Period, and we are here to go through the daily recap of the news, which really nothing really happened today. But you know what? We have each other, and we're going to hang out, and we're going to quickly recap everything, react to the events of the day, and then at some point tonight we will move on and look ahead to tomorrow. And I've got with me Joe from the Almost Blues Brothers. Hello, mate.
G'day. Good to be here. Yeah, it's slow news day, but we'll find something to talk about. Always do.
We will absolutely find something to talk about. Silly season. Thoughts overall? Never really picked your brain about this much.
No. Yeah, I mean, there should be a lot of movement from us. I think there will be. I don't know. The whole free agency compensation thing is really just tipped over now. Like, there's got to be something done about it. I'm not just saying for us what we got for Tom and Jack, which was great because really probably would have gotten pick 40 for Jack, really. So we've made out like bandits. But even like Oscar Allen pick 2, like it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy the way that's set up and how clubs can take advantage of it. So I don't know. There's a little bit for AFL to do, I think, for future off-season periods, but pretty quiet so far considering the names that have been thrown up.
Yeah. Do you like how far into the rabbit hole do you allow yourself to get sucked in?
For us?
Yeah, sure.
All the way. All the way. Like, I'll take give me an inch during this period, I will turn it into a mile. Absolutely. I'm hearing Butters, I'm hearing Goulden. It's like, yep, I'm just waiting. Get it done. Go get it done.
David Zeta joined me last Friday, I think it was. And you know, he's actually said something to me that maybe it hasn't changed my perspective, but it's made me reflect. And he said, you know, journos get a bad rap. A lot of them do. And fair enough. And he said, but at the end of the day, if the journos didn't go digging for stories from the clubs, all you would get is PR from the clubs. And I guess from that point of view, it has forced me to reflect a little bit on, you know, sometimes I get a little salty at John Ralph or Tom Morris or a couple of the others. But yeah, this is that perfect time of the year where the journos have to go digging to find whatever truth is out there that the clubs don't want everyone knowing.
Agree. And I think not only do they get a bad rap, but people jump on journos. I mean, I've never been too much of a critic of the journos. I think they've got a job to do, right? So, and they've got their sources. They know what they're doing, and it's really easy to jump on when they get something wrong. And a lot of people jump on when they get something wrong, but they get a lot right. And you never ever hear anyone come out and go, "Gee, he's good." Like, that's a great get. Like, just from the general public, like the same people that'll slander him, they'll never ever turn around and give him credit where credit's due, you know. And I mean, they've got a tough gig, you know. It's a pretty for the niche market that is the AFL. There's a big microscope on a lot of these stories, and yeah, look, I'll back in the journos most of the time. I think I spoke to you about this when they started kicking up a stink about Curnow, and a lot of people were saying, you know, it's just media fluff, it's this or that. And I don't know, I'd heard rumblings from a long time ago, and it just started to piece together. I wasn't shocked at all. And you didn't really, you know, when they first jumped on it, and I can't remember who it was, may have been Tom Morris that broke the story initially. But yeah, and everyone jumped on it saying it's just media fluff, ignore it, they're rubbish, they're this, they're that. soon as it was rendered true, you didn't really hear anyone turn around and go, "Oh, fair enough, got it right." So yeah, it's always good to listen to the journos every once in a while. I think.
Guess what?
Someone's just said there's a bomb that's dropped.
There is breaking news.
All right, here we go.
So, I guess we'll start with Charlie Curnow once again. Geelong has made a major move for Charlie Curnow, offering Carlton 3 first-round picks for the superstar. The Cats had tabled pick 19 to St Kilda on opening day of the trade period for Rowan Marshall, but with no movement on that deal, have made the Curnow play.
Okay. Hold on. Firstly, where are you reading this so I can get my eyes across it?
This is Cal Toomey's Twitter.
Twitter. All right. Give me a sec.
Right.
Is that it? There's no further info?
No, that's it. 6:03 p.m. It's now 6:06 p.m. So it's hot off the press. We are live with the reaction. And those of you watching at home, thoughts? Wait, didn't they just cheat?
And how's the slap on the wrist too for cheating? Like they are just the darling. They are the darling of the AFL. They can get away with whatever they want. 3 first rounders. So I assume it's their pick this year, which is pick 19, yes, and then future, and then 27.
I can only imagine it would be future and
then the 27 future, because they can trade two years in advance now, right? So 2026 and 2027 first round picks.
Yeah.
I'm saying no. Like hard no. I'm like calling Andrew Mackey right now if I'm Nick Austin saying try again. 2027 means absolutely nothing for us.
Yeah. No money, no honey. And by money, I mean Errol Goulden or players.
Yeah. Max Holmes.
That's what I mean. Yeah. We need players. We're not, the end of story.
It's funny because it's 3 first round picks, right? Which is a lot of It is a lot of capital, right, to invest. And particularly if you look at it from so we look at it from our end, it's not the deal that I would hope that we would flinch at. From Geelong's perspective, right? So if we're Geelong supporters, you're giving up your ability to enter the first round of any draft until 2028 when Tassie comes into the competition. Yeah. So when you flip it, it is a big risk. Like it's a big risk for Geelong to take if you are exiting that first round. But does Charlie make him better? Does he win him a flag? Probably. So guess what? We want more because we're not just going to give it to you for that. Pretty simple.
Well, I was going to set it all up, I guess, because we saw today, just a little bit of bait. Baz Lenker, aka Bailey Smith, who shared a story on his Instagram. I wasn't able to get it from my Blue Abroad Instagram, but got it sent to me on my personal. Have you heard this story, by the way?
I mean, I know that he's blocked you, but I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Baz Lenker with Charlie posting stories, having a little run, just a bit of fun, do you think any of this is deliberate? Do you think any of this has any intention towards it?
Anything Bailey Smith does is deliberate. So yes, I believe it probably would be.
True.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Fair play.
But it's just not even close. The 20. I know, like I said, I know it's 3 first rounders, and we can only assume that's this year, next year, the year after. The 2027 first round pick does absolutely nothing for us. There's no value there. There's just not. We're not targeting anything at that point.
Well, let's forecast. Pick 19 this year, right? What's it going to be next year? Where do you think Geelong finished? At worst,
18, anywhere between 15 to 19 again.
Okay, probably. And then the year after that,
probably 15 to 19 again. They're not going to drop off a cliff overnight. They've been who they are for the better part of the last 15 years. They're not. It's not like they're all of a sudden going to finish bottom 4.
So 3 picks in the mid to late teens is what we're
in mind you, compromised drafts.
Mm.
You know, that first round pick for us next year does nothing to get Cody based on what the father-son, what we're hearing about the potential changes to father-son academy and how much you're going to have to pay. It's pick 19, that does nothing for us. Absolutely nothing. 2027, compromise draft again. Like, it's just, I don't know.
What
Sorry.
if, and I mean, I'm just, whatever, maybe we can entertain the rabbit hole a little bit. What if such a deal meant Butters came to Carlton? Because then we would on-trade those picks.
Well, so this is the thing though, right? So they give us 19, so we end up with 10, 19, 22 this year. A future first is probably going to be, like I said, call it 15 at best. Are Port Adelaide really going to entertain that for Butters?
Yeah, probably not.
Like, why would you not just try your luck?
They would want what we want for Charlie. The only difference is he's a free agent next year.
This is the other thing that everyone forgets with Port Adelaide and Butters as a free agent next year. They can match the bid, and they probably will. I actually think that's one where they will match the bid and force a team to trade, and they will get the absolute world for him. There's no doubt in my mind that Butters isn't going to be easy to get as a free agent. I think this is why there's a little bit of talk around him and why we're hearing rumours, because I think clubs are starting to maybe put the pieces together that he's going to cost a fair bit regardless of whether you wait or whether you do it now. So I don't know. That deal doesn't get us any closer to bringing in Butters. It just doesn't. Sydney's pick 9 or pick 10, whatever it is, that absolutely does. That's 10 and 11, right? I think they've got 11 at the moment after the pick slides. Yeah, so we'd have 10 and 11. That's
we would.
We'd have 10 and 11 if Sydney traded that to us for Charlie. So that's the equivalent points wise of pick 2. Then you're talking for Butters, and it's like, right, let's go. But not those futures. That's just, I don't know. This is the thing with Geelong though. That's the only thing they can give us if they're not going to give up players. That's their max offer. What else can they give us?
True.
So that's it. Like it's either you take it or you leave it at this point. And I say, and I hope we leave it because it's not worth it. Absolutely not worth it.
So we start this trade period sort of with 3 clubs that were reportedly about to entertain this story. Geelong was one of them. They seemed to be the front runner last week. They seem to be overtaken this week by Sydney, who made it really clear, even publicly, with their list manager and the GM of their list. And then Gold Coast. Gold Coast seemed to maybe have pulled back a little bit given the Petrarca story emerged. We want a bidding war, right? Because bottom line, contracted for 4 years, best offer wins. Yep. And an offer that we can't refuse ultimately is what gets it done.
Yeah. And I mean, the positive out of this is that at least one of them has moved, right? For Charlie. So Geelong was the first to blink. That gets the ball rolling, and it now puts pressure on Sydney to rather than them being able to hold their position and posture and say, we're not doing anything until Carlton come to us. If you're not going to come to the table, now we wait, and it puts the ball back in their court rather than them or Geelong really being able to wait. Maybe gets Gold Coast back in the conversation. I don't know, because Gold Coast have the capital to match that to what Geelong's doing. I know they're going after Petrarca, but there's a bit there. So, yeah, I mean, we absolutely want a bidding war. This is stage 1. It's all part of the negotiation process, right? So at least we've got one that blinked. That's a positive from this. We will by no means be accepting that deal. There's not a chance.
If you think that's Geelong's best offer, what do you think Sydney's best offer would be? Because at the moment, what I've read, I'm summarising what I've read so far. We also had Mads on last night from the True Bloods podcast, and it seemed to be something like Haywood and pick 10, or Haywood pick 10 and a future first. That's sort of as far as it got.
If I'm Nick Austin and I've just received that offer, I'm saying to Sydney, it's 3 firsts as a starting point. You've got to stump up 3 firsts because that's what we've got. So I know we're talking about Geelong's first not being in the right range, but Sydney's might be. Absolutely. They might be a little bit better, and we know they've got pick 10 already this year. You'd be starting at 3 firsts now and then saying, well, if it's only Haywood that you can offer, who I don't even know where he finished their BNF. I doubt that he...
Great question, Joe, because I'm prepared with that answer.
There you go.
So I've looked into this as well because I rate Haywood. I do rate him. I think he's a really handy player. And I assumed that, well, this year he kicked 29 goals and, he didn't finish in their top 10. of their BNF, and fair enough. But I thought last year when he kicked 41 goals, he definitely would have. So when I did the research, this is what came up.
Nope.
So I'm not sure. Again, no context here. I'm not a Sydney fan, so I don't know why he wouldn't have finished top 10 in the BNF after kicking 41 goals in a year, career best year, etc., etc. So it's got to be top 10 talent more than what it's got to be first round talent, late teens talent.
Yep. And top 10 talent right now. You know, if you're going to stump up, if you can't stump up 3 firsts that are valuable to us, and it's not 3 firsts being this year, next year, 27. It's like, no, you got to go manufacture another first from this year. That's what we're looking for. And if you can't do that, then it's this year's first, next year's first, Haywood, and one more. And it potentially, that's not even Florent, really. Like, who else have you got that you can offer? Is it McInerney? Is it someone else? Like, now that we've got 3 firsts on the table, you can now say to Sydney, that's the value, right? And you can work out, and these guys, the way that they work out the value of players is they might say, we believe Justin McInerney is the equivalent of a pick 20 or whatever it is, 25, and they'll work out whatever the points equivalent will be based on the rest of the capital that's coming your way, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good start. I'll put it to you this way. Do you think Haywood plus McInerney, for instance, right, is worthy of a first round pick? So both of them just for 1 first round pick.
Yeah, I guess.
So then you're there thereabouts, right? That's your next starting point with Sydney. And if it's not, and maybe they're giving up too much with McInerney, you still want McInerney. Maybe okay, we can give a third back with Charlie, and that's how you can then from here, I guess, balance the equation, right? So it gives us options. That's the positive out of this. We won't accept this deal, but just so everyone can cool their jets, we won't. We just
a starting point.
Yeah,
well, I just want to update on Ben Ainsworth because we heard this morning through the GM of, hang on, what's his name? His name has escaped me. Stand by. Through the Gold Coast GM of talent, Craig Cameron. So he confirmed this morning on Trade Radio that Carlton had made contact about Ben Ainsworth, but via his manager, who happens to be the same manager as Charlie Curnow. So the interest has been confirmed. The line that they are going with at Gold Coast is that, sort of, I'm summarizing here, but, we are not necessarily looking to trade him, but we understand that he is free to explore his options. I mean, they've got the Bailey Humphrey story emerging, and so they're really hot on making sure that he feels loved. Ben Ainsworth all of a sudden seems very gettable. Riley Beveridge said that it wouldn't be independent of a Charlie Curnow deal. So maybe the Gold Coast final offer is yet to come, and maybe that includes Ben Ainsworth. So what do you think Gold Coast's best and final offer could be?
All right. Well, looking at their draft capital at the moment, they got 7, 8, 15, 18. So pretty handy first round hand there. You'd expect, if it's just Ainsworth, you'd want one of 7 or 8 and 15 with him at a minimum.
Ainsworth 7 and 15.
You're saying yes to that. I think everyone, if you are, look, Charlie's Charlie, we get it. He's a match winner, but I've come to the realization, the conclusion, he's not a match winner for us anymore, and he just won't be. I think we've all got to come to that realization, right? He may be a match winner elsewhere, but he's just not going to do it for us. I don't believe he will.
That's fair. What about Ainsworth Walter?
For straight swap, Charlie.
And 15. Well, Ainsworth Walter.
Yeah, I think that's too much. I think you're asking too much. If you want another first round,
lace them up, Charlie. Preseason round 1. No money, no honey. And by money, I mean players, mate.
So
players.
if we got 7, 15, and Ainsworth, we end up with 7, 10, 15, and 22. Are you telling me you can't go to Port Adelaide or you can't go to West Coast, first up, and say here's 7 and 10 for 2, and then you package 2 and 15 for Butters?
Or you go get Josh Lindsay. You just
Okay.
draft him.
Sure. And that's the thing though, right? So then you've got options. And it's like if Port don't want to accept that for Butters, who's a freak, and if you get him for pick 2 and 15, you're taking it and you're running. Because what you've done then is you've turned Charlie into Ainsworth and Butters. And that's it. And then you've still got 10. Oh, sorry, no, you've still got 22, 41, 54, 72, and your future first at your disposal. I don't know. Like maybe that's something. Now, is that asking too much of Gold Coast to also have to do deals for Petrarca and whatnot? Probably. Like we're spitballing now, but I feel like 7 and 15 is good value. That's good value plus a player.
Okay. The other one from Gold Coast, which it was a throwaway comment from Craig Cameron this morning, but they asked about Jake Rogers, and he said quite simply, we won't be trading Jake Rogers. He was very emphatic on that. He said he's part of our future. So let's see. But all in all, not much movement on the Charlie Curnow story. I mean, you just know it's going to be one of those stories they want to bill until the back end of trade period. And if you've been tuning in from the start of the show, you would have seen the countdown. Oh, if you didn't, I'll play it one more time. This was the 2019 trade period.
5, 4.
Remember, that was when we were apparently going to get Papley, and they had the countdown live stream. And then basically when that countdown went to 0, all list managers had to be, any list manager with any deal had to be in the room to make that deal. So we're all thinking, yeah, Papley's coming. And Pommy and I got absolutely roasted for sitting there waiting for a Papley deal to happen. So you know what they say, Joe? You know that old saying? Every swan has its day. And maybe this is the swan's day. Maybe karma. Maybe this is our chance at some karma. Because our guy's potentially nominated to leave or doesn't want to be there. I mean, I know it was Adrian Dodoro's fault, but I don't care.
It could be. It could be. No, look, I think, yeah, look. I don't know. I don't. This is based on what I'm seeing from people, whether it be in the comments tonight or on social media or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a deal that is going to satisfy what people believe we should be getting for Charlie Curnow. Like, really. I can't see a world unless we get absolute overs, and I'm talking like we rinse whoever he goes to, where people are going to be satisfied, to be honest.
Not so much rinse, but like Errol Goulden.
Yeah, but if they're saying he's untouchable and Charlie really wants out, do you really want Charlie there? This is my question that I ask people is, if Charlie has indicated that he wants out, okay, you can use whatever language that you want, but if you're saying I am open to a trade, you're telling the club I don't want to be here, right? We know that for a fact, that he has said that he's expressed his desire to explore a trade if something's there, right? Do you really want him there? Like I'm so far out of that camp at this point.
I get it. I do get it, but I didn't want to sit around and wait for him to come good and hope that his knee would come good when he kept getting injured. I didn't want to do that, but I had to do it. No one at the club wanted to sit around and, hope and pray that he was going to be okay. So I do get it though, from a cultural standpoint. Cut your losses. You don't want to have any poison inside the group. Like I really do understand that, and I do agree with it. It's just a matter of how much are you willing to cut your losses for the greater good of having everyone there around, preseason day one bought in.
So if it's not, let's say it's not Errol Goulden, and I want to know this from the chat as well, right? Because I'm reading the comments as they come through, and it's clearly a very emotional one for everyone, right? For all of us. If it's not Errol Goulden, if it's not a star, okay, let's say there's no star players involved, because that's where the stance is at the moment from all of these clubs. What satisfies you for him to go? That's what I want to know. Because, and as you answer, I'll tell you why. If that hypothetical of 7, 15, and Ainsworth comes through, 7 and 15 are essentially the equivalent points-wise of pick 1. It's very close. Now, do you value Charlie as pick one? This is how I look at it, right? Is Charlie Curnow the equivalent of pick one? I'd say yes. Is he the equivalent of more? No, unfortunately not. Like, he's 29 next year. He's coming off surgery after surgery after surgery. No guarantee that he doesn't need another surgery next year. And he clearly wants out.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're getting around pick one, I'm satisfied, personally, for a guy that wants out.
Look, if Sydney get him, he's their leading goal kicker next year by a comfortable margin. And apparently he's the missing piece for them. If Geelong get him, I mean, I can't see how they don't make top 4 again at the bare minimum. If Gold Coast get him, I can't see. I mean, if they get him and Petrarca, I mean, you have to think about Gold Coast as a genuine premiership contender if you don't already. So every team that seems to be in the ring for him will become a genuine premiership threat with him and a much better team with him in the team. So when we see, and again, apparently there hasn't been a formal offer tabled. Maybe this one from Geelong is the first one that's been reported this evening. But it just, everything we've heard so far in the murmurs, it just seems to be a starting point. I guess we're going to have to wait till Monday/Tuesday and even Wednesday before the final offers come.
Let's say the Suns or Geelong or the Swans somehow trade to go get West Coast pick one. And then they come to us and go, let's say the Swans or Geelong or the Suns, they package something and they go get West Coast pick one this year. Right? One of the three. And they come to us and go, we've got pick one, we'll give it up for him. What else do you need in that deal? Because it's not, this is the thing, right? And that's where you start to think, because you go, pick one's juicy. Now, can we get pick one with 7 and 15? No. We might be able to get pick 3, pick 4, like we did last year.
We do need to have points as well for the Harry Dean bid.
We do.
Any potential Harry Dean bid.
I can understand that. But it's, that aside, because there's other ways you can move around. You can move future picks into this year if you need to, and then you can worry about that next year, right? Just on that alone, though, in isolation, pick one's pretty close. Pick two's pretty close if that was offered straight out. You know? Well, for me, anyway. I don't know. But that's how I kind of think about it.
All right. Watch this space.
Watch this space. Absolutely.
Watch this space. All right. The next item on the agenda, it came a little late today, but I just want to get your thoughts and just get a check on that with all of you watching as well. I'm going to put a poll up. So St Kilda are doing their thing. The Lelia deal has seemingly taken a turn. Are you or would you be interested in pursuing something for Lelia? That was the question that was asked earlier today. Why?
Absolutely. We need depth in the back line. Now, whether or not he starts every game, whether or not he's the best 22 player, I'm not sure. But you got Haynes, who's 34 next year, 33, 34, 1-year deal, probably his last year, unless he shows the same sort of form that he did again and he can get through, and maybe it's another 1-year extension, but he doesn't have too much left in him. After that, if McGovern's not offered a deal, there's not much there. It's pretty thin. Key defensive stocks.
Yeah.
I think you could do far worse than Lelia as squad depth. He clearly wants out of GWS. He'd be pretty shitty, but the Saints haven't. I would suspect that him and his management are pretty shitty that the Saints didn't want to do a deal. Could be time to pounce. You might get him cheap.
I'm not a hater. I'm just not a believer.
Okay, why?
I remember thinking all year not all year. I mean, the Lelia rumor started pretty early for St Kilda. And I remember watching him throughout the year at times thinking, gee, I hope the Saints get this guy. I don't think he's going to be worth what they're going to pay him. Because there were talks that they were going to offer him a deal close to what someone like Cal Wilkie makes and, throw the checkbook at him. I remember talking to Jake and saying, like, now that you've got Silvani or going after Silvani, does that mean the Lelia deal is off? And he seemed to say, like, it wasn't. It was still going ahead. So I don't know. I don't think I rate him as highly as what he was reported to be paid. I guess everyone has their price. It all depends on the price.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't be overpaying for him. He's out of favour at he's not getting games at GWS, and he's clearly not even in favour at St Kilda now. So, like, the price on him should come cheaply. But like, I don't know. I feel like you could do worse. I think Graham Wright said it, or he alluded to it. We need more players, not better players, right? We need to build out some depth quickly to be competitive. If we were to run into a similar scenario, injury list and all that sort of stuff that we have over the last couple of years, I feel like Lelia, he's probably got 50 games under his belt. I would say close to. He's probably 23, 24.
I'll tell you right now, Lelia is 24 years old, born on the 21st of August, 2001. He's played 25 games.
25 games. There you go. So,
yeah.
13
of which came this year. So,
okay. So really sort of cracked in this year for the first time. Showed a little bit. Like, yeah, we do probably need players of that sort of bracket to come in and give us some depth. I wouldn't be paying him $700K a year. I'd be offering him, 5, 6 max, but gives us something.
I'll agree to disagree on that one, but I can see 66% of you who voted in this poll said yes. So I will disagree with you guys, the majority, but we will see what happens on that one. Now, Sam Walsh. Question came up yesterday about whether or not he would be the next captain. Maybe I'll start there. Where do you sit on the next captain of Carlton? Not saying Cripps is going to give it up, but where do you sit on who's their next captain?
Probably is Walshy, based on his age, right? Like Weeders, you could make a case for now.
Mm-hmm.
Once Weeders sort of hits 30, 31, not that that's at the back end of his career, but he's probably only got 4 or 5 tops at that point. You probably want a little bit more long-term stability from your leadership group and your core leader. So it probably is Walshy from that aspect. If they were to pull the trigger now, or Cripps was to step aside, I'd be giving it to Weeders for sure, before Walsh. I just don't think Walsh is. I mean, he's probably ready, to be honest, but I just don't think. I think right now we need someone that has exhibited those qualities for a really long period of time, and that is Jacob Wiedering to a T.
Okay. Matt Bain was on Trade Radio this morning with Sarah Jolly and Josh Gabalik, and he was asked about. So, just for context, he's Patrick Cripps' manager.
You've been fielding some odd phone calls around Patrick Cripps.
A lot of noise around Patrick Cripps.
And the captaincy. I mean, is he giving it up? What's going on?
I wouldn't have thought so unless Carlton give him the flick. But no, as far as I know, he'll be skipper there next year.
So there's that. Maybe we can knock that one on its head. But just going a little deeper with Sam Walsh, because he's a free agent at the end of next year. He is essentially in the same situation as Zach Butters, if I'm not mistaken. Literally.
Yep.
Restricted free agent end of next year.
Yep.
If he is a future leader of this club, do you have an expectation that he signs before the season starts? Or do you understand that this is the landscape that we're in?
Yep. No, sign. There's no excuse. Like, he can talk all he wants, and this is the thing, right? Like, there's been a lot of talk from our club and a lot of talk from players since Voss was backed in, and in interviews and whatever it may be. Talk is fine, but if this turns into a Tom situation where we're going into round 1 and he hasn't signed, and then it lingers and it lingers and it lingers and it lingers, and that hangs over the group, it hangs over the fans, and it hangs over the club. Is he really a leader of the club? Does he really want to be there? Now, I'm just saying, you don't want it to turn into that situation, right? And I don't think it will. I think Walshy will sign a long-term deal with us to start the club, and I think it will come before the start of the season. But if he doesn't, I'll be starting to question things early on, much like I did with Tom, because you'll be able to see it from a mile away. Like, there's no reason why a player that is all in wouldn't sign right now. After trade period's done, after draft is done, once the list is set, once our salary is set, once we know what we can spend, once we know what we can give you, this is it. Take it or leave it. There's no reason.
Also, a massive watch this space. I think because the Curnow stuff hasn't finished and the chat around that hasn't finished, we aren't focusing too much on Sam Walsh, but we'll see.
If Walshy were to depart the club, that Charlie leaving for me personally, it's not a big loss. I'm telling you now, it's really not. Walsh departing will be a huge loss to this club, culturally, spiritually, on field, off field. That's the one that would absolutely kill us. I'm telling you, we can afford to lose Tom, Jack, Charlie. We'll be fine. Walsh, different story, completely different story.
See, I thought part of what we lacked a lot this year, but a fit, healthy, committed, determined, happy Charlie Curnow, I think, is a big difference maker as well, because he ignites the rest of them. He's got this, I don't know what you call it, he's got this energy about him, which can work both ways. When he's happy, others around him feed off it. And when he's unhappy, maybe others around him can feed off that too.
I agree, but we haven't seen that Charlie in almost 2 years by the time we get into next season, personally. It's when he's up and about, he's great, and we look fantastic. But honestly, I just doubt whether or not he's going to get back to that level for us. He might get there somewhere else, and this is, I think, what we're trying to battle with, right? Is if he goes elsewhere, we know if he's in a better environment, he's probably going to thrive. He doesn't like the environment at the moment. It's pretty clear. If he liked the environment that he was in, he wouldn't be. Him and his manager wouldn't be roaming around the league asking how they can get into their club. That's for me. That's the crux of it. It's not about losing Charlie at his best. We'd be losing Charlie over a sample size of the last 2 years of where he has been nowhere near his best by the time we get to round 1 next year, based on the standard that we hold him to and that he should hold himself to. Right, that's the loss that we're looking at. It's I know it's a tough one to battle with mentally. I get it, but I got no confidence that his attitude's going to turn around anytime soon for us.
Yeah, I lost confidence pretty quickly that he was part of the solution to whatever the issues are at Carlton. So, okay, all right. Let's turn to those of you watching at home. If you would like to join in and have a chat and bring up anything, now is the time. Hit the link in the chat. Call up, share your thoughts on whatever's happened, which really today, not much. The other things that are on the precipice, Campbell Chesser, Buku Kamas. Yesterday, there was a report that we'd offered and tabled pick 40. Today, it was suggested that same pick, well, pick 41 now that the Oscar Allen picks come through, has been potentially explored for Campbell Chesser. So kind of hoping that one or both of them get done tomorrow.
Yes, I doubt that either of those two would be tied into any Charlie deal that potentially comes up. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit. The interesting part was that we offered pick 40 for both. So it's kind of like the Dogs buffed it. We go to the Eagles and say, well, you can have it. Put the pressure on the Dogs. If the Eagles take it, great. And then the Dogs are going to stump up. Well, we've got to compromise with the Dogs, or they might have to compromise with us. But I feel like that one of the two at least should get done by tomorrow, right? Like it should be at least one, if not both.
Man, I hope so. Would like a deal to talk about tomorrow. All right, we have a guest. His name is Mark. Hello, Mark.
Tez and Joe, how are you, boys?
Mad Dog, what's going on?
Plural, mate. S is in there, but anyways, that's for another time. Look, I just wanted to put it out there to you boys as far as really what's the go with Mitch McGovern. Do we maybe somehow look at a club that may be interested in him and see what pick we could get for him? Or even, I guess there was a little bit of a story about Blake Acres. I'm not too sure of that, but just wondering of your thoughts there, maybe for those two. We could probably still snare some pick for them. Possible.
Doubt it. I mean, I was talking about it the last few days. There seems to be just this understanding that Mitch won't be around next year.
Well, look, I mean, we don't even know what's next, obviously, just more of a thought, because at the end of the day, as much as we've been talking about obviously what we're looking to get and what we're looking to potentially ship off, I mean, I was just very suspicious to make sure that we obviously still have the picks for Harry Dean and for Cody Walker, rather than obviously trying to really ship all in the eggs in the one basket this year, and then obviously potentially forgetting the other father-son for next year. So, yeah, to be honest, there's always one opinion today, and then the next day can be completely the opposite, and then the next day after that can be the other way around again. So who knows? Could be right, could be wrong, wrong could be right. I don't know.
What's your opinion on these offers that you're seeing for Charlie? And actually, what's your opinion on the Charlie situation?
I'm glad you asked, because seriously, if Sydney, oh God, especially Sydney. Well, I mean, you can make as many grand finals as you want, but if you keep wasting your spot by choking and losing those games by 10 goals, I mean, you could have a full all-star lineup and that still wouldn't get it done. I mean, I just find it very fascinating that, two first-rounders in Haywood, but then again, they don't want to give up any of their Fab Four. Look, I mean, then again, Warner's from Perth, so you can really forget that anyways. I mean, Heaney, we've kind of got that with Cripps, even though he's obviously in the latter part of his career. I mean, really, I think what would obviously hurt Sydney the most is a young Goulden at 22, 23, considering their other stars are in the prime, getting into that late 20s, where I'm sure they want to have them for the long run. But, I mean, what would a Haywood and Blakey and a first-round pick consider if Goulden's name is not in there?
Now you're talking.
I don't know. Depending what you guys think.
I mean, that's a lot. that's overs. That's like, yeah, you're not saying no to that. No one's saying no to that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I just can't see. I can't see us getting the value that we're all going to be happy with. Not out of a deal like this.
Well, then at the end of the day, we'll probably have to, I guess, send Charlie a message than what we saw with Jamara at the Bulldogs, and that if he was to stay, we have him sitting in the VFL. Now that could sound very unorthodox for a club like us, but I mean, surely come the next week and a bit, Graham Wright has to be getting involved with these, obviously, negotiations. I mean,
can we play that out in our heads just for a brief moment? Charlie in the VFL, Icon Park, or like Frankston on a Saturday night with 7,000 people flocking to watch him play in the VFL. Like, like I get it in theory. I just, in practice, like really, really sit him in the VFL. Like, I don't know.
But also, then what's the point? Like, if you're going to sit in the VFL, you might as well trade him for what you can get, right? Like, yeah. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right, Joe. I mean, because wasn't that long ago? I was actually at the Jumper Punch live event in late August, where Favola was there, Brad Pearce, and Heath Scotland were there actually, and there was a very fascinating story about Fev. I think it was around in early 2003 where Dennis Pagan basically had to put a line through him that he ended up playing the VFL. Kicked like 8 in the first half, and then they realised, you might as well just come in straight into round one. Now, could something potentially like that, which we don't know obviously until next week, could that be the same fate with CC himself? I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, man, I'm actually, to be fair, I'm a little bit of work with this, but come on, sure.
You cutting out?
Cream dodge.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Mark. You just cut out. What'd you say there?
Yeah. Look, in short, Curnow's still got 4 years on his contract, right? Now, whether it's him or the manager literally saying that he does want out, or is it more of a media push? I mean, again, we will only find out come Thursday night, the final night, or Thursday?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
And
15th.
he's broken up. He's broken
6
up
days.
a lot.
Yeah, Mark, you're cutting out terribly. Wait, can you hear me?
Mark can hear you guys loud and clear.
Yeah, you're just sort of chopping.
That's weird. I can hear you guys clearly. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, mate, thanks for calling in.
Bring on next week to see what unfolds. But do the right thing.
Go Blues.
Make it right.
Make it Graham. I like it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, not really. I did have a question for you.
I had a question
for you, but it's gone.
I had a
Oh,
question.
actually, I've got two for you, but you go.
All right. Do you this silence, we'll call it, from the club, firm position, the way that they're playing it, like it, don't like it? What do you think?
No, I like it. Yeah, like it. I think when I was 18, I would have liked a few more rumours, but now that I'm a bit older, I'm understanding that silence is good. It's a good thing. It makes us a bit more anti and whatnot as supporters, but I think silence means things are happening. Things are happening.
When
Yeah.
they need to happen. Okay.
Yeah, agree. You? Same?
I do like it. I think they don't need to talk this week at all. And I
Yeah.
think we are in the position of strength so far, that being contracted player, 4 more years, 28 years old, 29 next year, star of the comp, get fit, get healthy, and salvage it. Give us your best offer. So, yeah that's my thought.
I've got two quick ones for you. Elijah, you've probably spoken about it. Thoughts? What happens if he doesn't find a home? Do you bring him back in? Do you say you're playing VFL until you can really prove over 14 weeks, 15 weeks that you can stick with it, or what are your thoughts there?
My thoughts are, I just need to know, which I can respect that I won't know, but in order to give a proper answer, it's like, I just need to know, how bad is it, whatever happened? And is it fixable and is it salvageable? I don't know. If it is, then he is a talent. I said this yesterday. Bringing him in the way that we did was always going to be a test of what the great culture that they were building at the Carlton Football Club was, and this high-performance environment that Luke Sayers was pitching to us all the time. That clearly wasn't there. That culture was full. That was full of shit. So culture, admittedly, from the coach the other night, defeated itself. So when the culture is defeating itself, that doesn't bode well for that move for Elijah. We don't have a good enough culture to make that work. But I do think he's a good enough player.
Fair. Second question for you. So it's kind of a two-parter. Firstly, where do you genuinely see us finishing next year, right? But and I'll preface it by saying, if we get the deals done that you personally think will get done, and secondly, based on where you think we're going to finish, what's the pass mark for Voss to earn a 1-year extension into 2027 with the prospect of free agency opening up for us, Walker coming in, bit more continuity with the group, Jagger another year, all of that sort of stuff?
I think we're a long way off it. And I think we're pretty much, especially if Charlie leaves and we have to take what's being looked at right now, I don't see us being too much better than what we were this year, given a weaker list. What was the next part of the question? What does he need to do?
Yeah, what does he
need to do? Pass mark? Plays finals, earns himself, I reckon, a 2-year deal.
Okay. So it's finals, right? Like or let's say he pushes for finals, finishes 9th or 10th. What are you doing with a worse list?
I mean, if they're galvanized and they're up and about, and if he gets us to if we finish 9th next year, that means we've won more games than this year.
So what do you do? So this is I've been battling with this myself. I just don't know. I don't know what the pass mark is. I don't know. I really don't. Because by all intents and purposes, we could finish bottom 4 next year. We really could.
I don't think it's that bad.
Whoa.
No, I don't. Hey, I've been wrong a lot. I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think it is, but we could. I think it's within reach based on how bad this year was at times. I think it is. But okay, that gives me enough. Gives me an understanding where you're at. I'll get it.
All right. I want to bring in Jace. Hello, mate.
Hey, Terry.
We are well,
Joe,
mate. How are you? Met Joe?
Good, mate.
Joe, Jace, Joe?
No, good, mate. Nice to meet you.
I think it's good news that Geelong have made an offer, and
Yeah.
setting the early price of 3 first rounders. I think that's better than anyone can expect.
Oh, for sure.
Because
And
if that's the first offer, then 3 first rounders is probably 40% unders.
yeah, so it gives Austin the ability now to go back and say, well, if that's your first offer, we in the negotiation will start at the other end and we'll go 4 first rounders.
To be 5
You know?
days out of 5 days out of deadline and putting up 3 first rounders and setting a bidding war with Sydney, best case scenario.
Yep, agree.
Best case scenario. The one thing I think from what I've only just caught on the end of the conversation, but from what I reckon I'm missing other Blues people talk about who we should get, what should be in the trade. I think we're forgetting that a good Charlie is 70 goals a year. A bad Charlie is 30 goals a year. We need to make up for 45 goals a year or 40 goals a year. Start of the year, the rumour was that we were signing up Fritsch, and I think that's dead in the water. I don't know if you guys have heard anything in the background.
Yeah, I think they shut that down about a week or so ago. I think that was ruled out.
So our forward line with Harry Kemp is weak. So you guys, everyone keeps talking about the back line, but Weeders, Karmas, Haynes, Dean, O'Farrell is a lot better than Harry and Kemp in a forward line.
So 40 goals.
Haywood right now, Shannon Neal from Geelong. If they're not in the trade, forget about it.
I was literally about to say 40 goals, that's Will Haywood.
So forget about it. So this thing about 3 first rounders, straight away you shut it down.
Oh,
and
for
because
sure.
the reason why you're going to see this year, next year, first rounders are going to be they're going to be worth a second round pick.
Yep.
Because
And particularly Geelong's. Geelong by 2027, that Geelong first round is probably going to be pick 32.
So even though it sounds good, and what I love about it is, like I said, it's setting the market early, and the fact that it's going to start a bidding war, fantastic. But 3 first rounders is really 3 second rounders.
Yep, agree, 100%.
Right now, where you've got to get the sort of the sort of cobweb out is for us. We obviously priority. We got to secure Walker next year, so we need 2 first rounders. Now the rules have changed, right? We'll get Dean this year, but we need to keep one of them top 10 first rounders, right? So we got to make sure that we got 2 first rounders next year, top 10 pick this year, or around that mark. So that pick 9 or whatever for TDK. But we've got to make up that forward line because. And this thing, don't get sucked into like just because we're going after Ainsworth, don't get sucked into that should become part of let's say Gold Coast were in the running for Charlie. That's not in the Charlie trade because you get people like Ainsworth for second round picks. We don't need that's we can do that without a Charlie trade. We can do a Florent without a Charlie trade. Florent is a pick 40. So we don't need steak knives in the Charlie trade. We need quality because we're losing an A grade player. We need a blue chip player back. It might sound good because you're bulking the trade up and you want to make it look like a Carlton win. Oh, but we got Florent, first round pick, second round pick, future first. No, anyone under B+, you're not in the trade because we're losing an A grader and we've only got 3 or 4 A graders left. This thing about building our depth, I kind of don't agree with it because all our A graders are a little bit chinky, right? If Walsh was Mr. Consistent and at his peak, then our A graders look okay. But you're forgetting we just lost TDK. He was supposed to be the shining knight, and yeah, I'm a bit like you, Joe. I'm not saying but he was supposed to be an A grader.
Well,
right?
it's supposed to be, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they built the list. They built the list around TDK, Charlie, Harry, Weeders, Cripper, Walsh. They built the list around 6 blokes. We've just lost 2 of them, and we're about to lose a third. So don't give me this crap that, we're going to fill it up with B and C graders to fill out our depth. No. You know what creates depth? You bring in the best quality players, and you get depth by competition for spots, and that builds out depth, right? How do you think Geelong and Brisbane stay at the top of the ladder? They don't fish around picks. Yes, Geelong get lucky with picks 40, 50, 60, but they bring in known commodities. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to muck around with free agents and trade. You've got to make sure that if you're the whole point, the reason why you're big in the market is because you know what you're getting. There's proven data behind trading for free agents and when you go out for trades. The draft is obviously more of a lottery, and Geelong actually get a lot of their first rounders wrong. But yeah, I just think Graham Wright had a near impossible scenario this year, because I've been asking for Terry to do some content on Austin's last 5 years, because, you know, the thing with us supporters is a lot of the times we're talking about rubbish because we get no information. So we got to hypothesize everything. Is it Andrew Russell's fault? Is it the coach's fault? Are the assistants any good? We'll never know that answer because you never hear from them, right? And the underwhelming ones that we've been linked to this year, I guess that's a topic for another day, but Graham Wright was set with a near impossible task. Austin, since 2021, after the Chera trade, has brought nothing but 3rd and 4th rounders into our footy side. And if you go back and have a look at all the articles of every year, when they do the interview at the start of the
You mean via trade? You mean via the trade period or the draft?
Trade period.
Yeah.
Right.
Brisbane and Geelong are constantly in the top 4. Hawthorn are constantly in the top 4, but yet every year they get linked to A graders. They're always in the market. They've got the cash, they've got the picks, and they got the nous to build from a position of strength. Since 2021, when we thought, we're coming, we've been Elijah Hollands, Nick Haynes, Lewis Young. Who else have we brought in?
Blake Acres.
Mr. 40s. Now, Austin has done nothing but bring in 3rd and 4th rounders. It's a disgrace. Even this thing like, Bailey Humphrey comes to Melbourne. Why aren't we in that race? Tell me why we aren't in that race. 3 years ago, we thought Elijah Hollands was that forward flanking, goal kicking, midfield, dynamic player. Isn't Bailey Humphrey the one player that we don't have?
Yep.
That can play 50% mid, 50% forward, kick 30 goals a year, and kick a goal out of his arse, right? Skillful, hard, contested. Why aren't we in that race? It baffles me.
We could be, though. We just aren't in that race publicly.
Maybe. I hope so. But I just think what Graham Wright, you can tell obviously people's intentions by their actions. And Austin has failed this list because in the last 5 years, he's obviously thought we're content. We can play around the edges, bring in Acres, just top up little gaps. No. We weren't close enough. We didn't go for anyone of quality. And now look where we're at. And every year he's mentioned, every year he was going for depth. So 5 years later, you haven't achieved it and you're going for depth. I was really surprised he didn't get the flick, because you look at that, like I said, that 5-year period and to be where we are now. And yes, there was a plethora of other reasons and excuses, coaching, whatnot, culture. But this list, that's on him, 5 years, and he hasn't brought in no one above a 3rd round pick is a disgrace. And the fact that we've now lost $1 million we had $1 million budget for TDK. We've got a $1.2 million budget for Charlie. right? The salary cap went up. So how do we not have the cash to go after A graders? Now, when I say that he's got the chance of pulling off a miracle, the only thing I like about, like I said, with this Geelong thing, 3 first rounders sounds amazing, is if we can fill that 30 to 40 goal gap with a Neil or a Haywood and get your 2 first rounders and then maybe swap your second and third round picks. That will get us Dean, Walker, and we got to be in the race for Butters then, because we got to have cash. You know, one thing that everybody's missed the minute that this offer come out from Geelong, how that F have they got to spare 1.3 mil? We're not paying Charlie's. We're not doing a Melbourne. Why hasn't anyone said that? How do they manage their salary cap so good? And I don't want to hear anyone say, "Oh, it's because they're corrupt." No. How the fuck do they find 1.3 mil for Charlie?
Well, it could also be. It could also be that they've spoken to Charlie's management, and Charlie's happy to take a cut to get there too. So it's not necessarily.
But he ain't taking a 600K cut.
No, it won't be 600. It won't be 600. But they can.
150. He'll be on. So Cameron is on 1.1, highest paid player. They have a bit of a smoothing out. Charlie would be on that level.
So when you say 1.3, you're saying Charlie's salary next year?
Yeah.
Or is that what's remaining over the 4 years? 1.3 each year.
He'll go to Geelong on their top band, which is 1-1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He'll take.
Maybe
100K. I think we're paying him like 1.2, 1.3. That's what I'm saying. So he's taking that.
I think it's less than that over the life of the deal, just depending on how we've structured it. My understanding was he's on about 900.
Nah. If he's on 900, he goes nowhere. 2-time Coleman medalist on 900, get out of town. If he's on 900, why aren't we offering $1 million a year for Bailey Humphrey then? That's crazy. They were all the $1 million boys. That's $6 million boys.
Yeah, okay.
Charlie up at 900. But you tell me how Austin.
He did sign his. You got to remember, he did sign his deal 4 years ago. Now 900 4 years ago was probably the equivalent of a 1.1 now or 1.2.
Nah, Charlie 7 figures. I reckon.
I think he is. I think he's definitely at least 1.1, 1.2 this year.
Yeah, Charlie's 7 figures. Definitely. 900K, you don't move him. You don't move a 2-time Coleman on 900, 1.2.
Is that back-ended, Tez? Is it the structure of it? What's?
I don't know, but I would be surprised if he's on less than $1 million this year.
You know, we've had Doc retire. We've got McGovern sitting in the wings. Like I said, we've given up. We had $1 million for TDK. Sauce, we've had 650 for. Where's all this cash? So they've got to be. They've either got to have a big fish this year or next year, because bringing in Karmas, Reedy, Chesser, who's the other one? Karmas, Reedy, Chesser, potentially Ainsworth, and there's a fifth. There was a fifth C grader. Karmas, Reedy, Chesser.
Karmas, Reedy, and Chesser are the 3 that have actually requested trades. Reedy's already here. Ainsworth was only really spoken about the last few days.
Yeah, and Jaff, what's happening with Jaff? That's not coming into fruition?
Haven't heard anything about it since Sam McClure mentioned it on Tradies a few weeks ago.
We need to step back a bit and say, well, that's very underwhelming, because we have to have 2.5 in the kitty after these exits. How? And I know because of our club is so undesirable at the moment. You got the coach pleading his heart out. He's a lost cause. We're recruiting we're now. Do you think these assistant coaches are an improvement or because they're pretty underwhelming? How did Hawthorn get James Cruiser off Essendon? Why weren't we in that mark?
I think we've got one more. I think we're one short. I think Fraser's an improvement. I like Fraser.
But what I'm trying to say is if we had the pulling power and if we had the reputation, you can't say that our reputation.
But we don't. But we don't have the pulling power and we don't have the reputation. So when you talk about Geelong and when you talk about Hawthorn and when you talk about Brisbane and maybe even Collingwood, the secret sauce isn't what they're offering in a salary. The secret sauce is the environment that they've built that has players taking less because they're a part of a better environment. That's the secret sauce
100%.
that they have.
And that is the most important thing that Davies and Wright can do is
Yes.
rebuild this culture.
Yeah.
Rebuild this environment. And that's what they're doing. They're obviously doing it because the last few weeks, the way they've done their media, getting rid of like things, hard stances on Elijah and McGovern, you can clearly see what their new ethos is, and it's fantastic. But all this year, whether it was the Prendercast people or people on here and whatnot, oh no, we'll be fine. No. Link to Chesser, Reedy, Karmas, all VFL players. Link to Lee Adams and Josh Fraser. They're the 5 ins.
Yeah.
I've been saying all year.
So who were the other alternatives? Who were the alternatives for those 3 players?
We are in the phase of going 2 steps back to go 1 step back to go 2 steps forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree necessarily, but who are other 3 players apart from Reedy, Chesser, and Karmas, in your view, that we should have gone for instead of those 3?
Like I said, the minute, and I know it's last minute, but the minute Humphrey gets to Melbourne, how is Carlton not?
Yeah, but Humphrey's in a different category than those 3. I'm talking about the 3.
You mean who else should we have targeted?
Instead of the 3 that you've mentioned, saying they're VFL players, right? And looking for better opportunity, sure.
Yeah.
Who are 3 other alternatives that are on the market this year?
Oh, I don't know. Who's Flanders? I'm not necessarily.
No,
to be honest,
because Flanders and they're like a level above.
Yeah, but why can't? That's what I'm saying. Why aren't we fishing in those ponds when we've got the cash, we've got the pigs?
Yeah, we have already lost 6 players off the list, so you've got to replace them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't all be tier 1 players.
No, I'm just looking at the bigger picture. Where we stand, we are going 2 steps back to go 1 step forward. Because
Maybe.
if you just bird's eye view out and say right now as it stands, we've lost Sauce, so we've lost let's say a fake centre half back, but Sauce is a 3rd tall, so he was never going to be a number 2, right? We've lost a 3rd tall. We've lost our number 1 ruck. And to be honest, because of the position our list was in, playing money ball with the rucks, it was the only choice we had. If we had re-signed TDK on $1 million, that was a huge mistake because this is actually a way that we can save $700K, but this is why it's more frustrating. Why can't, and then we put that $700K into the forward line. That's what I'm saying. So I was excited a little bit during the year when I heard about Fritsch and with what we can do with Charlie, because if Fritsch, Harry, and who else? Kemp, Moya, they might kick 20 goals each. Haywood, you can have a bit more of a dynamic forward line because the other thing to think, yes, Harry won a Coleman, but he only kicked 50 goals that year. Charlie won 2 Colemans, but when Charlie won his 2 Colemans, Harry didn't kick many, and we've never had a top 8. I know Pommy and that are the stats people, but we've never had a top 8 forward line with Harry and Charlie. So it never worked. And we never had a decent forwards coach. Why have 2 A-grade forwards and not invest in a decent forwards coach?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So I'm happy to break them up. And like I said, I'm happy to get rid of TDK because play Moneyball with the rucks because it's proven that you don't need an A-grade ruckman unless you get
Darcy Forte 2-time premiership ruck.
There you go. So Reedy, who we got, Pitnet and O'Keefe, fine. That'd be fine because all they got to do is be competitive. That's it. And save that cash to put into the forward line, put into the midfield. But I think everybody has to, in terms of expectation, because where Carlton supporters are, because of the 20 years of crap we've been in, our only joy come from October. Our only joy come from who we were linked with. And
our
the problem
joy comes from the projection. We become projectors of what we want.
We still got that residual thing where we get so excited when we're linked with anyone. But don't be fooled because, like I said, just look at holistically, and I don't mean to be negative, but Reedy, Chesser, and Karmas are hardly going to move a needle. Just understand to understand where we're at, that the club are going 2 steps back, 1 step back to hopefully go 2 steps forward. But it just frustrates me that we have to have cash. And the 5 years of Austin's last 5 years, I've got to get over that because we can't go back in history. We're never going to get that back. But I just love the fact that with right there now, we're a little bit more aggressive. Now, I understand we're fishing in the B and C grade ponds, but one day when we get a bit of respect back to the club, right, we'll be fishing in the big ponds, and that's what we've got to hope for. And it can be as soon as the end of next year. But this is where the other tricky part is. If we all got to hope for improvement next year to make the club look better, right?
Yes.
So we don't want to be 12th, 13th, 14th because who's going to want to come to Carlton, right? So we got to actually hope that we're knocking on the door of the top 8. But then what do? Do you go, well, Voss has improved from last year. What do you do with him? And the players really knocking on the door to be coached by him.
What's your pass? Joe asked me earlier just before we brought you in. What's your pass mark for Voss next year?
Man, if they make the 8, considering how poor we were this year, and I don't want anyone to give me an injury list and say, but if we had Newman, no. You know how many teams have an injury list?
Yeah.
Brisbane
So what's his pass mark?
With 8. If Voss finished in finals, you have to say it's a pass. Mate, he's only made finals twice in his career out of 10 years of coaching. So you can't say anything above 8 because 8 for him is golden. He's only made finals twice in 11 years. But even then, just because I might call it a pass, I still don't believe he's our coach in 2027.
Fair.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't have innovation. And clearly it's I just think that maybe what I'm trying to say is if they had have got rid of him this year, depending on who was available or who was in that chair, we could have fast-tracked our reputation to the league if we had someone else in that hot seat. Because I just think it's very uninspiring at the moment to be coached by Voss, Lee Adams and Josh Fraser.
Fair.
I don't see anyone in the league running to Carlton for that reason. And this thing about, but you play in front of a big crowd. Mate, Hawthorn pull big crowds. Collingwood pull big crowds. There's a lot of teams pulling big crowds. But it just frustrates me that Hawthorn, after competitive years and years and years, I'm just talking about the last few years, they're in the race for Humphrey. They're in the race for Merritt. When in the last 5 years, when we were starved for success, we were in the race for Acres. And everyone's on here doing cartwheels. Acres, Lewis Young, Elijah Hollins. Like
Blake Acres won us 2 finals, to be fair. You got to remember that we had a run from hold on. We brought in the Cherrers, Newmans, Acres of the world.
6 years ago, 6 years is a long time ago. 6 years is half a career. 6 years is half a career.
No, I get it. But the point you're making is the players that we brought in didn't have impact. Blake Acres literally
No. The point I'm making is our list management and our footy boss have sat on their hands for the past 5 years, and 5 years later, we're still recruiting for depth.
I think I can agree with you. I can agree with you that they've sat on their hands for the last 2 years. I think 5 years is a stretch. I think in the last 5 years we haven't traded for anyone above a 3rd round pick. That is passiveness. That's passive. Yeah, what was he? What was Hewitt? That just proves my point. I think he was a 3rd round. He was our best and fairest this year. If you're saying that our best and fairest this year is no better than
best and fairest, hold on.
Jace.
Best and fairest in bottom 6 club means nothing. Best and fairest in bottom 6 club.
Jace, if you're saying our best and fairest this year is no better than a 3rd round pick, then we might as well pack up the doors, mate.
No, you're not listening. I'm saying we got him for a 3rd round pick, but it still tells you how passive we've been. When you're dealing in 3rd and 4th round picks, that means you're passive. It means you don't make moves. That's uninspiring.
Right.
5 years to not come up with a deal that
We
shows
didn't
your
move on.
progression.
We didn't move on pick 5 for Chera.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was 5 years ago. That's what I'm saying. The last 5 years, we've done nothing but use our 3rd and 4th round picks. That's passiveness.
Okay.
That's passive. Whereas you look at this year, Adelaide go hard for A graders. Hawthorn are going hard for A graders. Geelong, after Bailey Smith last year, are going for Rowan Marshall and Charlie in the same year. So
Before
don't tell me-
2021, though, that was the wave where we traded away our first round picks for Sard. We went after Zach Williams as a free agent.
McGovern.
Yeah, but that was
McGovern.
two different regimes. That was Sauce.
Yeah, well, correct. So Austin comes in from there,
And I'm saying, I'm just.
and then we go to the draft, and then we go to the draft from 2021 onwards.
Yep.
Right,
And
with
has
our
it
first
worked
round
out?
picks.
And has it worked out?
I would say Cowan has been a tick
Ollie, tick.
so
Yeah,
far.
but we're the 13th best in the league. We're the 13th best team in the league.
Yeah, okay, that's a different
Right.
question. But I'm answering your question around going to the draft.
Don't you? All I'm saying is, don't you want a footy admin that comes up with things that surprise their supporters? That, like Geelong supporters are sitting here going, "We just lost a flag," and my footy admins are going for a number one ruck at another club and are going for a number.
But Geelong's list isn't top heavy like ours is. They've got a team. Like, this is the thing, right? They've got a team. So hold on, Jace.
Good footy admin.
Jace, they got a team. They do. They've got good footy admin. They've got it sorted off field, on field. They've got it all. They've got their ducks in a row. We don't have that. We've had to.
When you're top heavy and you're 13.
Austin, yes, absolutely, mate. Because Austin's had to come in.
He's had 5 years.
He's had to come, and unfortunately,
long time in footy, Joe. 5 years.
2 years ago, 2 years ago, the list, and I'll say the list because you've said Voss is uninspiring. So the list was in a good spot, a good enough spot to get us to a prelim 2 years ago. So clearly, within 5 years, he did something right to balance that list. I think we've lost our way the last couple of years in absolutely obliterating our depth. Look at the players from the prelim, mate, and have a look at some of the players that made that run up until that 2023 prelim, and how many have been whatever your thoughts are on a Cunningham or a Marchbank or whoever it is, they came in, they had impact. We didn't replace any of them. That is squad depth that got us there. We were under extreme injury pressure that year during that run. Everyone forgets this, where we had squad depth come in and take us to that prelim, not stars, squad depth. Now, we have lost all of that and not replaced it. For me, what we're doing now had to happen last year, and we didn't. We got rid of Kennedy, got rid of Owies, who was a 30-plus goal kicker for us. It didn't do anything at the Eagles, but we didn't bring in anyone last year for squad depth to build us out. And we saw it. We saw the impact of that this year as soon as 3 or 4 injuries to our top 10 hit us.
Yeah, last year, the club will never admit it, but they made the number one mistake in footy, and they overrated their list.
Absolutely.
Because they gave 2 first-round picks to get an 18-year-old, thinking, well, that's just icing on the cake.
But we had all those.
When we made the prelim, that was the time to strike by your logic, right?
Agree. 100%.
Exactly. Strength at a point of strength. Exactly. 2023, look at all your deficiencies. And this is what to remember, Joe. That same, you talk about that good list of 2023. That same list was at the bottom of the ladder, near the bottom of the ladder, halfway through that year. And what people don't understand in footy, have a look at Adelaide this year. They went from 15th last year to 1st this year, but got smashed in finals. People underestimate, and this is why it's a topic for another time, but footy betting. But it's such a compromised draw that you get these anomalies, because in that run in 2023, and you might say it's pretty harsh to say this, but apart from beating Sydney, Geelong we beat every year, we actually didn't beat anyone above us.
Collingwood,
2023,
Melbourne.
I've had this conversation with you, Terry. In 5 years we haven't bet anyone that can run, carry, spread.
Collingwood.
Every time we play Brisbane, every time we play Hawthorn. So this problem has been in front of Austin's eyes for 5 years. That's all I'm saying. Because you forget, we lost it. We didn't kick a goal in a final.
Brisbane opening round last year. Brisbane.
Mate, I love the debate. I just think we're starting to go in a bit of a circle.
Yeah, we are. Look, I just think, going back to what I jumped on, starting Charlie 3 first rounds means that there's hope that we come out with a Godfather offer, because now there's a bidding war. And Sydney have to go for Charlie.
Absolutely,
New
they
coach.
do.
Think about it. New coach,
Yep.
lost their CEO. GWS are picking up A graders. They've got to go for him. But we
Yeah.
like I said at the start, just don't get lost in the fact of who they're naming in the trades or what. We got to find forwards because at the moment, Harry and Kemp, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, mate, absolutely love your thoughts tonight. That was a great discussion. Appreciate you calling in.
No,
Let's see what
thanks.
happens. We've still got 6 days of trade period, so we'll get you back in over the next couple of days.
Sounds good. Keep up the good
Good
work.
legend.
Well, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Jay.
Bruce.
See you,
Well done.
mate. Alrighty, one more, and then we'll wrap up. David.
Hey, Terry. And is it Joe? Is that right?
It is, mate. Yes. Nice to meet you.
David,
Yeah,
Joe, David.
Nice to meet you. I love your in-depth understanding, Joe. Really learn a lot from listening to you. I just want to know, is this the Blue Abroad like hair, 6 o'clock shadow moustache kind of channel now? Because like you guys are rocking the hairdos and the beard,
Terry's
Terry and
stubble,
Joe the Mo.
Terry's stubble is it's a new addition, and I've even said to my missus it suits him. Like I think he's been feeling himself lately, Tess.
Yeah, we've added a little addition, mate. We're fluid with our identity. Shaved head, not shaved head, stubble, shaved face, whatever, doesn't matter. We just keep rolling.
You always look good, Terry. It's the eyebrows. Don't ever lose those.
It's always the eyebrows, my friend. It's always the eyebrows. That's where everything begins.
Terry and Joe the Mo. Yeah.
No, the Mo's been a feature for a long time, David. Long time.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to circle back on the Charlie Curnow thing. Like, it seems to me it's pretty obvious that he wants out.
Yeah.
I guess the clubs. So I'm thinking about what's the decision tree for the club, and I sort of want your guys' thoughts on this a little bit. So the club's looking at this and thinking, they would know best. Can they recover the relationship with Charlie? Like, is Charlie ever going to be happy at Carlton again? Is that, it looks like he's not going to be, but the club would obviously have some better insight on that than us. So let's just say they decide, right? Yeah.
I think the bottom line is this, as we just touched on before. The bottom line is this: it's contracted for 4 years. We don't have to do anything until an offer comes across the table that's too good to refuse. So earlier we touched on what it might look like from Geelong, what it might look like from Sydney, and what it might look like from Gold Coast. So until that offer that we can't refuse comes across to pick up the phone and consider, that's the treat.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the clubs so the club's looking at it and thinking, okay, Charlie's never going to be happy here. At some point, we're either going to trade him or have a grumpy, miserable star on our hands for 3 years. Or
you work with him and you say, if you really want to get out, play good footy 2026, bump up your value, just like we did with Bryce Gibbs a few years back. And we ended up getting the second.
I'm not arguing any particular position. I'm just trying to go through like the thought process.
Yeah, but I think we've just no. I'm not saying you're arguing. I'm just we've definitely covered it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the cost benefit for the club? Let's say is there a benefit to the club in saying, well, we want to hold Charlie to his contract, unless we get a miracle offer, obviously, because that's going to benefit the club in other ways. For example, with other players who have long-term contracts, because Carlton's long had a sort of reputation of go to Carlton and get easy money for sweet FA, like the free agents and things like that. I'm not saying it's completely justified, but does the club look at that and say, well, look, if we hold Charlie to his contract, then maybe that sends a message to other players around the club, not just Charlie, that hey, we're not some kind of club that's going to roll over and okay, sign up with us to the big bucks. If you get bored or you think somewhere else is going to be a better deal, or you're going to get it's got better surf beaches or whatever, you can just swan off. Because I think it's something the AFL does need to look at some stage, because I think players jumping clubs, when they've got a long-term contract, they're a star, and that's why they're given a long-term contract. Players jumping clubs, breaking contracts and doing the kind of stuff that's been going on, not just with Charlie, but with other players as well, in the last year or two. I think that really hurts the fans' attachments to the clubs. Because why are you going to invest? Why are you going to care about your star player if you think, well, maybe he's just going to bugger off next year? If he
Yeah,
doesn't like the
they're at
coach.
risk. They're at risk of adopting the NBA model, which is very, very fluid these days, and you don't get too much attachment to players and having a player become a brand for a football club, right? And have that football club build an identity around that player. I tend to agree there. I mean, the solution for me is pretty simple. Just give as much power to the clubs as what the players want. That's what I've always said. So if players want out in halfway through an 8-year deal, the club should be able to turn around and say, no problem, Charlie, we're trading you to West Coast for pick 1, mate. I think that solves a lot, right? Because at that point, then you leave it to the player to say, if you are that keen to get out, that's fine, but we're going to go get the best deal for us. And then it's on them to really weigh up whether or not they think they're going to get to the position, the destination they want to get to, or whether or not they're just going to get out of the environment they want to get out of.
Yeah, and maybe it will make players think a bit more longer term.
Absolutely, and they won't jump
next year.
Yeah, and they won't jump into these 8-year deals just because they know that 4 years down the track, their manager can get them out of it and get a new one going.
Thing is, pretty much, you get into the league, you're grateful to be a footballer, then you get to about 21, 22, you sign a deal if you're good enough to take you to when you're a free agent or just before. And if it's just before, you sign a 2-year deal, and then you sign another 2-year deal just before you become a restricted free agent. And then by the time you're 24, 25, that's when the big offer starts coming. It's starting, the cycle's already starting to show itself. So you've got gratitude for 6, 7 years, 8 years, and then get the best offer you possibly can to set yourself up, rightly or wrongly. Now, if you're, as we touched on earlier, if you're a good enough club with a good enough environment and a good enough culture to entice players to turn down more money to stay a part of the group, great. We are not that right now, Carlton. We're just not.
The other thing that maybe comes into the club's thinking with the Charlie decision is if the club sort of lets Charlie go for a less than amazing deal, are they basically sending a message to the players that you guys control the club? If you're not happy with the coach or you don't like whatever, then you can kind of just bail out and the club will eventually trade. You can kind of, because I mean, look, Charlie's lost a lot of respect with a lot of people, I think, because he could have just come out and said, I really don't think the club's going anywhere. I really want to maximise my career. I want to be close to the family. Geelong's the place I'd like to get to, but I'd like to get to a competitive club. No one would be happy with that, but at least be honest,
Can I give you an alternate perspective on that, David?
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that thinks that our club is all for moving Charlie, but have asked him to stay quiet and not request a trade so that we can get maximum value. Because if he does, if he requests a trade to Geelong, to Sydney, it gives them capital straight out the gate because they can hold us to ransom knowing that player wants to go there if it's publicly stated. So I think I get where you're coming from. I think in a utopia, it makes sense that you'd want your players to come out and be honest with you. But there's a part of me that genuinely thinks that if we are entertaining offers, which we clearly are, that we have told Charlie and his management to keep as quiet as possible on where he wants to go so that we can maximise value in these negotiations.
I mean, maybe that's part of the behind-the-scenes deal with Charlie. It's like, okay, you want to go, we'll try and facilitate that, but your job is to
do what's
help
right
us
for
get
us.
the maximum. Otherwise, we're not going to let you go.
Of course.
But if that's the case, I hope the club comes out and gives a sort of nod and a wink quietly to let the fan base know that Charlie was sort of, that wasn't just, like Charlie being a dick, because it's kind of like trashing his reputation. Just a thought too on Bailey Smith post with Charlie playing, Charlie training.
One more because we've got to wrap up.
Yep. Bailey Smith posted that picture of Charlie, training with him. Wouldn't it? And Charlie at Curnow. Wouldn't it be funny if Geelong traded Bailey Smith for Charlie and they both ended up at opposite clubs? That would be poetic justice. I'd love that.
I don't know how that goes, David. I don't know how that goes because he's fucking blocked me on Instagram. The dog.
yeah, the dog. But hey, he's kind of the kind of player we wouldn't mind doing either. Like having he's a bit of a dick. I don't really want him at the club, but in terms of his ability on the field, it actually fit in really well. Yeah, I'm not saying it's realistic, but I'd just love that. Anyway, enjoy your thoughts, guys, and great show, Terry and Joe. Appreciate your insight. You're probably more realist than Terry. Terry's more idealistic.
Way too optimistic.
Gotta live the
I'm
dream,
working
Terry.
on it,
I'm
mate.
with you.
Mate, I'm working on it. I'm a believer.
Hey, trust me. When I first started this, David, I reckon I was worse than Tez, and somehow I don't know the tables have flipped.
Penny hasn't
You've
dropped
been
for
through
me
the
just yet.
trenches and you're battle hardened and bitter and don't expect anything good. Yeah.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Yeah. And Terry's looking at the single daisy growing in the mud, you know. Yeah.
Hey, someone's got to find the bright side in life, mate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great. It's great. It's all good,
I
man.
love it. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for calling in, mate.
All right. Thanks for the show, guys.
See
Thanks,
ya.
mate.
He's a good man. All the way. He's from Thailand.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great place.
From New Zealand, living in Thailand. All right. Well, that was a great great show.
It was good. It was good in the end. Yeah. Just to finish quickly, I checked the contracts. Charlie is not on 1.2 mil. He's on between 850 and 950K a year.
Really?
Yeah. No, I would have remembered if he was on over a mil. I specifically remember him signing between 850 and 950 per year. He might be on 1.2 next year back ended, but over the course of the deal, no. The point I was going to make to Jace was if he's got whatever it is left, they can just smooth out that deal over 6-7 years and he gets paid 800K a year. That's how they manage their cap. Anyway.
Where did you get that? Where'd you find that?
Multiple articles from back in the day, from recently, AFL Rich List from last year, this year. He doesn't feature in the top 25 ever. And that top 25 barely gets paid $1 million a year.
Right.
Yeah.
I walked into this show thinking it would be a very short one, the shortest of the week, and it's been the longest of the week. So there was nothing to talk about, but then there was so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Anyway, Joe, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's been great. Ladies and gents, don't forget next Friday, drawing out the winner of the giveaway for those of you who fill out the 2025 survey. Link is in the live chat. So please fill it out if you haven't already, and stay tuned because we're still waiting on deals for Chesser, Karmas, and we're still waiting to find out what happens with Curnow. Maybe now that an offer from Geelong has come through, we might get some more action tomorrow. So stay tuned for all of it. Go Blues.